That'll work. I'm done with this thing. What's going on, guys? I'm a regular guy with the Regular Guy Firearms channel. Thanks for watching. Now, today I got some video game tech for you. This is the Bushmaster ACR. This is one of the rifles that were built in the Wyndham factory. And what's kind of funny is that, you know, there's always a lot of hubbub and stuff like that out there on the internet, and I noticed that aside of one comparison video to it and the Scar, there's no real review on it. So we're going to go ahead and give it its fair shake. As of late, I put something around 12 to 1,500 rounds through it. It was definitely over 1,000. But as I started shooting the thing, I started becoming aware of a lot. And there are some good things associated with this rifle, and there are definitely some bad things associated with this rifle. So we're just going to go ahead and dive into that now. If you want a list of features, go find another ACR review, because we're not going to talk about that. We're going to actually go ahead and talk about problems and things that I digged about it and things like that. First and foremost, we're going to cover things that I liked about the rifle. Number one, it does shoot fairly smooth. The impulse is fairly smooth. It's not quite as smooth as something like a Scar or a LWRC M6, something like that, or an Adams Arms rifle, but it is definitely fairly smooth. The next thing that I actually pretty much dig about it is that they went as far forward as they possibly could with ambidextrous controls. Bolt release and lockup, safety, magazine release and lockup, all that stuff. It's all 100% ambidextrous. The sling mounting hardware, however, is not. I guess you can say that it is sort of through the stock here, but as far as hooking up a 1-point or something like that, you're going to run into a couple of problems. They come in several different versions and stuff like that. This was originally an enhanced rifle with like the quad rail on it and stuff, but the friend of mine that owns this rifle decided that he was going to go ahead and side with this and just bolt stuff to the inside of the rail, because a lot of Magpul stuff facilitates that, which is fine. But a couple of really good things also about the rifle is that over the amount of time that I fired it, it's accurate. It is, and that's partially attributed to the fairly stiff barrel that it comes with, and it's reliable. It has cycled the ammo that I've cycled through it, and unless I fuck something up, like leaving it on a suppressed setting or something, it runs just fine. However, it's not all gravy with the rifle. There's actually a lot that I really don't like about it. First and foremost, we're going to start with this stock. This stock is the stuff of nightmares. Okay, it's not that you know there's a twin button pushing system in it or anything like that, but there's just a lot of laziness incorporated into this guy. For instance, there's an adjusting cheek piece here that, if fully collapsed, and you will be if you're wearing armor, it will not move, because in order to facilitate it, you have to back it off and then move it down or up or whatever. But the problem is that you're not going to leave it in a down position. The reason why that you're not going to leave it in the down position is because it's too low to facilitate a good cheek weld for something like an AR compliant optic, like a Comp M2 or an Aimpoint T1 with the riser mount and stuff like that. Even basic AR iron sights are too high for it. So there isn't really an option. You will be using the cheek riser on the thing. Which actually brings you into some more bullshit, really, because if you're using it for any kind of intermediate distance work, if you decide to slap glass on it, a lot of times those rings are higher than standard like AR height optics, which means that your cheek weld is reduced, and obviously that's no bueno. So that's kind of a pain in the ass. Another thing that I just really do not like about this stock, and what strikes me as very lazy, is the fact that, okay, it folds and stuff, but it is under no locking mechanism whatsoever. Okay, the point of folding a stock up is to facilitate travel with like vehicles and in cases or whatever. But if it's not in a case and it's inside of a vehicle and stuff, all you really have to do is just kind of move it, and it comes out of place. That and the fact that pretty much everything, minus the pin holding it together, is made out of polymer, so it's fairly easy to shear off. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with polymer furniture, but steel inserts at the right places make all the difference. Okay, I have the same issue with stock designs from like the Scar and stuff, where the lockup and the latch and all that has a difference between a polymer latch and, or I'm sorry, a polymer latch and an aluminum lockup, or the opposite. Okay, this is just polymer for the both of them. And the problem is that high wear areas, it's similar to something like an AK magazine or something. If it's an all polymer magazine, the places that lock up and basically have to interact with each other all the time, anything that revolves around friction ends up breaking. So it just strikes me as fairly lazy that it couldn't have had a couple of steel or aluminum inserts in there to at least facilitate it locking up or having the stock locked out or whatever. So it's kind of a problem to me. The controls themselves are kind of lazily done. It's really hard for me to sit here and describe to you, but the safety is very spongy. It's as if someone went into the safety detent spring on an AR and cut it by like a third. Okay, there's no real definitiveness to it, and yeah, it makes a little sound, it makes the clicky noise and shit, but it's very spongy going on and off. So if you're wearing gloves and stuff, and if there's a lot of fucking noise going on, you know, it's hard to detect. And granted, yeah, you should be able to feel it and stuff, but I personally like, you know, audible shit. So I don't know. It's starting to strike me as hokey at this point. Little things also, like just when the magazine is locked up to the rifle itself. Okay, you can see that when a magazine's outside of it, it moves and it's fine. It's similar to an AR magazine button or whatever. You jam a magazine in there, and it just kind of moves freely. You know, not a big issue. I haven't had magazines pop out on me or anything like that. But again, it's striking me as dudes that are cutting corners. Okay. The biggest thing that I find absolutely unacceptable about the rifle is number one, caliber conversion kits totally don't exist. Okay. I don't believe that they have the intention of producing them. And here's why I believe this. I went onto the Bushmaster website to look up parts. Okay, replacement parts, you know, extractor springs, bolts, carriers, whatever. You can't find any of that. Matter of fact, if you try to look up a schematic and then try to find it some parts for it someplace else, you're not going to find it. If you look up if you look up the schematic for this guy on their website, they send you to one of their 308 AR-10s. There's no support force behind it at all, which means if you have even the slightest thing go wrong with this, you're going to Bushmaster. Okay? And I don't know about you guys, but if I have an extractor spring or something like that go down, I'd rather just pop the fucker in myself. I don't need to send a rifle to somebody. So, the fact that there's no support system behind it irks me. Okay? Another thing that this guy has a problem with, while it cycles fairly smooth and while it is a reliable rifle, it's nose heavy as shit. It really is. I noticed the nose heaviness in this rifle more than I would in an AK-47. That's fucking bad. Because that rifle was made in the late 1940s. You know what I mean? We've progressed a little more to where we can balance a rifle properly. So the simple fact that I can't stay fully extended for long periods of time because it's very nose heavy begins to piss me off. What's even worse is that if you're in a really odd position like supine or fetal or something like that, because it's a nose heavy rifle, this cool thing called physics will shift the rifle as it fires, making a neat little rocking motion, which makes it fairly difficult to deal with. In an AR, you just don't get that problem. Okay. And even in an AK, it's got a little bit of a rocking motion too, but it's not as severe. So it's not balanced very well at all, especially for what it is. You know, and again, they called this thing the Adaptive Combat Rifle, with quick barrel changeability and all that stuff, and it doesn't return to zero. Really? Hold on. I'm fucking up. I was on the suppressed setting. Alright, we're just going to leave this here and go check that out. Way to fuck that up, by the way. Oh yeah, let's just start that suppressed, you know. Fuck shit up. Oh, there you go. That looks good enough for a camera. Alright, nice tight little shot group there. It is our first shot group. We got 1, 2, 3. Okay. We're at about 50 yards. Okay, so I'm expecting a shot group that small. So we're going to cut the camera off and then start. Alrighty. So now we are going to rip this barrel off. Now, I will be the first one to say that I am not the most well-versed at this practice. So if I start to fuck this up, we will figure it out. Okay, so it's off. Let's see if I can't put this back on without fucking shit up. Set that down there. Do-do-do. There you go. Okay. So, it's back on. All right. Let's go see what we got. Oh, damn. Look at that. Obviously, it looks like I pitched one, but that's not even close to the same shot group. Odd. We're going to take one more shot group at it as is. I'm going to go towards the head, see if it is the same, see if I'm fucking up, one or the other. That string actually felt pretty fucking good. It's still low from where we had it before. Because first shot group, I was holding at the center of the 10 and we're high. Second shot group, I'm holding at the center of the, or the third shot group, I'm holding at the center of the 10 and we're low from where it was. Because before it was about this much higher. So, it does not repeat 0. And at 50 yards, a shift that much of a shift anyway is concerning, to say the least. But oh well. We're here to show you the truth.
And it shall set you free.
Yeah. Yeah, not exactly free when you're spending $2,000 fucking dollars on a rifle. Just saying. Oh man, the guy who let me this is gonna kill me. So, even if caliber conversion kits were available, that is useless to me. Because I'm going to get that 300 black or whatever the fuck it is that they want to sell with it. Okay? I'm going to spend the money on the barrel for that 300 black. Let's just say that it's that. Right? I'm going to zero that. Okay? Reverse the corrections on the aim point or whatever. Toss the 5.56 barrel on there. And have a drastic difference between point of aim and point of impact from the last time that I zeroed. This is why the caliber conversion kits don't make sense at all. Because what is the point if you can't adapt to anything? Because every time that you change the barrel out, now you have to go ahead and re-zero it. Negative. Why? Why would you do that? You might as well buy another rifle. So, the bottom line is this. Usually I give a rifle a pass if it's accurate and reliable, right? However, I don't think that's the case because this is a $2,000 rifle. Yeah, you can get them cheaper, and yeah, there's places that you go where it will be more expensive. But it's a $2,000 rifle that doesn't actually do the job that it was designed to do. Worse, there's just a lot of shit that's really, really lazy about it. Okay? The last thing to just kind of illustrate my point, right? This rifle is supposed to be adaptive in every sense. An AK-47 or an AR or a SCAR or whatever is going to be a sealed system. If you bring the camera down to where this is, and if you start looking between it and the actual magazine well, you'll see daylight. That's not a sealed system rifle. You're literally inviting shit into the gun. And the problem is that if you got into one of these things and looked, where stuff can ingress can get into vital parts of the rifle. Recoil spring systems and everything else that will shut the fucker down. It was a great idea. Everybody was excited for it when it was getting ready to come out. But it was badly executed. It was a lazily done job. And what's worse is that it was a lazily done job at the exact same price of its competitor, the SCAR, which actually does exactly what it was designed to do. That's why it's in special operations circles now, serving with like ranger regiments and whatnot, or ranger battalions and whatnot. So you have issues with that, and the problem is that to get this rifle slick, I could instead build a rocket ship of a fucking AR with optics and stuff for a little bit less. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave it in the comments box below. If you disagree with me, I'd love to see a counter video, because you've seen the footage already. And if you have any further questions, you can go ahead and go to the Facebook page. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. And remember, guys, a regular guy's firearm is the last defense against tyranny. Be easy.